everybody, it's me, Dan Sexton, Mr. Excitement with Renee, Mears, Realtors, and I am excited today because I am continuing my real estate education series, but today I want to cover the dreaded foundation. So I know if you're a buyer or a seller, these are things that you need to be really concerned about. Is the foundation sound? Is there any issues going on? In today's video, I am going to talk a little bit about what I look for as a real estate agent when I'm either going on a listing appointment and I'm touring the home, or I'm showing a buyer a new prospective home. So first off, let me give all the stuff out of the way that I need to. Number one, I am not a structural engineer. I am also not a foundation expert. However, my 15 years in real estate, I have come across numerous foundation issues. I've talked to numerous structural engineers, and I've talked to numerous foundation companies, so I've learned a few things along the way. First off, let's talk a little bit about the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And one of the big things you got to understand is what our soil content is around here is we have a lot of clay content. What does that mean to you as a homeowner or as a prospective buyer? Is that you got to understand that the slab, whether you have pier and beam or you have a slab, our soils can expand and contract depending on the moisture level in the ground. So if I take this sponge, let's call this sponge your slab, and let's just say right now this is in the middle of summer. It's not rained much. You notice how compact it is and stuff like that. If we take and we pour a little water on it and let it, and let the water, and it's raining all day, a couple days, you're eventually going to get a foundation that expands, and it goes up and it goes down. So you got to understand that when it's real wet, the soil is going to expand and your foundation is going to raise. When it gets dried out, your foundation is going to dry out. Your slab or your ground around your foundation is going to dry out, and it's going to contract. So you're going to have this up and down, what we call heaving. So we got to keep that under control. So one of the things that I highly recommend is you got to keep your moisture level around your house at a consistent level, not over wet, not too dry. That's why one of the things that I always recommend is make sure you have a sprinkler system that you can stay on top of that. Also, you might want to run a soaker hose around your slab just to kind of keep it at the slab a moisture level pretty consistent. So, that's the first thing to understand, is that we're susceptible to foundation issues here in North Texas due to our soil content. So when I get to a house, or if I'm walking a house prior to listing it, or I'm showing a buyer a house, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to walk the perimeter of the house. I am looking for fractures in the brick, fractures in the slab. I'm looking at freeze boards, separation, and stuff like that. I'm looking for pooling water. I'm looking for cracked ground. I'm looking for the soil pulling away from the slab. Those are just some of the things that I'm looking for. I'm looking for separation at the window panes between the brick line and the actual windows. There's a gap. I'm looking for excessive caulking that shows that maybe the seller trying to hide, a separation issue there. So those are some of the things that I'm looking for. So let me give you an example. This here is the cracks in the brick and these pictures are a little bit over the top. So just understand that just for graphic purposes. But this is a crack in the brick. As you can see from this crack, this is very excessive, but one of the things that a crack that's the first indication you're going to see that you've had some movement. Now, when it starts breaking through the brick, most cracks will what they call follow the grout line, because that's usually the weakest point. But when you get enough stress that it's actually breaking through the brick, that is a sure sign that you have some major movement going on. This is a freeze board. You see how much that's opened? That just tells you that the house is binding a little bit, and those freeze boards will separate. So, what I do is I walk around the house and I'm looking for those freeze boards that are open. Now, this is an excessive case here, but this is another example of what I'm looking for. Example of the gaps around the window. Now this is pretty excessive, but one of the things that I'm looking for again is I'm looking for gaps where it shows that the house is moved and it'll open up a gap around the window frame. Now, this picture here shows the separation between the slab and the soil line. So if your soil dries out, it'll actually pull away from the slab, and this is a beginning signs you're going to have foundation issues. So, and then now when I go inside, I always carry a little friend with me. It's the golf ball. And no, I'm not playing golf while you're out looking at houses. I use this and I lay it on the floor and to just kind of check out to see if I've got any slopes. And if if I'm walking the property and I feel like there's a little bit of a tilt to the slab, I'll actually drop the golf ball down just to see how bad it is. Just a little indication that we need to kind of watch for that. Typically your slab is not going to be all, level, exactly level. When they pour the slab, it might be off a little bit. So if we suspect that there's a slab issue or a tilt or a fallen foundation, one of the things you might want to do if you do decide to get this house under contract is to get a structural engineer out. Highly recommend a structural engineer. You can also get a foundation company come out, but foundation companies are looking for work, so they may not give you a truly accurate evaluation. So if you get a structural engineer out, one of the things that they're going to do is they're going to measure the elevation of the slab. What I mean by that is they have special tools like a zip level here. Let me show you a picture of the zip level. A generic picture of an inspector using a zip level. He'll walk around at different points throughout the inside of the house, measuring the elevation of the slab, and he'll diagram that out on a diagram showing the different elevations. He'll zero the level out at one point, and then he'll measure all the different points of the house. So as you can see, the zip level, he walks around and he'll measure the slab and he'll give you a report showing the raises or the elevation, the raises and falls of the foundation. Now there's certain tolerance levels that a engineer will allow within so many just linear feet, the raise and fall, which is within tolerance. If it falls beyond that, then they're going to recommend you put in what we call piers. Now, there's differences between pier and beam and slab. So let me show you the example. This is what a slab looks like. As you can see, this is a standard post-tension cabled slab. There's cables and rebar that's running through the slab to provide some flexibility and some rigidness to the actual slab. This next picture is an actual picture of a pier and beam. You can see the piers actually sit on the ground as blocks, and the beams and the posts then support the structure of the house. So, and there's different solutions for different types of slabs, but most of the homes around the Dallas-Fort Worth right now are probably slab. So if you're having to have foundation work done, you're going to have different piers. What they do is they basically are going to find the low spots, and they are going to try to either stabilize the slab, or they're going to try and raise the house to try to get it as level as possible. And then they usually put piers every 4 feet. Up underneath the slab. They jack the slab up, they set the piers, and then they set the slab back down on the piers that they've installed. Now, a good foundation company will use different types of piers. They'll use concrete piers, steel piers, ramjack type piers, all different kind of thing. But the key is they want to get the piers deep enough so that they're stable. Usually they go to what they call bedrock, but they want to get those piers stable so that when they do set the house back down onto the piers, those piers don't sink or they don't move, and you have a stable foundation. Now, one of the things I tell buyers all the time is that, look, if you're looking at a house and it's had previous foundation work done, that doesn't scare me. What scares me is I want to look to make sure, number one, it has a warranty in place, a valid warranty. And number two, I want to make sure it's a lifetime warranty. And number three, I want to make sure that the company did the work that is offering the warranty is still in place. So that's why anybody that does foundation work, I highly recommend you go with an established company that's been around a while, so they'll be able to honor the warranty if they do need to come back and make some adjustments. Now, understand that they can't lower a slab. So if you have a high point, they can't come in and dig it out and let the slab fall. Unfortunately, there's not much they can do about that. They can try to stabilize or maybe raise a little bit of the low stuff, but you also have to understand they can't raise it too much because then they'll crack the slab, cause plumbing issues. Which brings me to the next point. If you do have foundation repairs done, you absolutely want to get a plumbing test done that passes. When they start moving that slab around, there's a good chance that they could break some sewer lines, some water lines, which will then just end up causing bigger issues in the long run. So make sure you get that plumbing test done and you get it, signed off that it passed the plumbing test. If you're looking at it, that's why a lot of people now, when they're looking at a home, they may elect to do what they call a static water pressure test on the house. That's just they put pressure on the water lines, make sure that there's, it maintains its pressure, there's no leaks. If it loses pressure, that means there could be a potential slab leak somewhere. So, hopefully you found this video somewhat educational. I'm going to continue to do these educational videos on different aspects about home ownership, selling, buying homes. I think the next one, I might talk about the HVAC systems, the water heaters, and stuff like that. So anyway, Mr. Excitement, I hope you found this video educational. If you do, give me a thumb up, give me a comment, send a like, share it. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.